and I'll be talking about the struggle of Native American women just to American culture. Throughout history, Native Americans have always struggled in white society after many of them were dismantled from their homes and forced to live elsewhere. Women had it the hardest adopted to white culture because women before the 1920s were not able to do many things that many women can do today. But being Indian also played a factor in making it harder for Native American women. As a scholar, I'll be using 4 sources from newspaper article to novels and interview to show you all 4 different perspectives of women's struggle. My goal is to give you a glance of what it would be like to be in the shoes of a Native American woman. First, to start us off, is a newspaper found in the New York Times for Native American women: Scourges of Rape, Rare Justice by Timothy Williams. Did you know that 1 in 3 American Indian women in rural villages have been a victim of rape or experienced an attempted rape, according to the Justice Department? That's pretty crazy if you think about it. It's just imagine seeing a couple of women walking around and you know that many of them have been a victim of rape because the rate is so high. To Indian women, rape has been going on for a generation, and state authorities have done little to prevent it. Nationwide, an arrest is made in just 13% of the sexual assault performed by American Indian women. Caroline Anton, age 50, who has been a victim of rape, states that she knows only a couple of people who have not been raped. That's out of 100. That's pretty crazy, I would say. In many novels written from female authors of Native Americans, you will find that rape is drawn close to many Indian women. Second, The Jailing of Cecilia Catcher by Janet Campbell Hill is a great novel that inspired many women because it shows the struggle of the author and how she overcame it. Janet Campbell Hill, a member of the Coeur d'Alene tribe, composes the story in a peaceful and impassive voice with real understanding of how it feels and what it means to be Native American. The novel is drawn from her experience of growing up as a Native American in a white dominant culture. She uses the character Cecilia to portray herself in the novel. The story itself consists of images of Cecilia, an Indian law student and mother of 2 who is spending the weekend in jail after her arrest for DUI on her 30th birthday. Held on an old welfare fraud charge, she thinks back to her life in reservation in Idaho, where she is raised by an alcoholic father who was full-blooded Indian and a half-bred mother who always gave her trouble and yelled at her. The fact that her mother hated her and her father really never paid attention to her because he was an alcoholic made her struggle through white society even more just because she had to face it herself. She also reflects back to her years as a free mother in San Francisco and her loveless marriage to Nathan Wells, a white liberal teacher. She scans her life, seeing patterns in the apparent emptiness of her life, realizing that in many ways she has been repeatedly bound by her society and culture. She comes close to the brink of killing herself, but her dreams of what she can be for her people herself carries on for her to suicide. A quote that I thought was great from the novel, and this her father told her, is that if you were going to compete successfully in the white man's world, you had to learn to play the white man's game. It was not enough that an Indian be as good, an Indian had to be better. I believe the quote means that in order to survive in a white society, you have to change your ways of living as a Native American and adapt to the culture of your surroundings. Janet Campbell I would describe as a survivor because she is a strong woman who had to face many hardship and poverty to become who she is today. She received a scholarship to go to school where she began to reconnect her family heritage and find herself. Her past is something that she will never escape because her Indian heritage is what keeps her alive and going. Another great quote from one of her novel Bloodlines, she writes, "Sometimes it will take a lot of courage to live and do well in spite of it all. But being courageous is part of your heritage. The most admired quality among the Coeur d'Alene was courage. Courage has been bred into you. It is in your blood." This quote describes exactly who Janet Campbell is: courageous. Third, Academic Massacre by Tammy Truckwater is the story of 2 American Indian women in their struggle to survive academia. In this journal, the authors began by stating that the character is in pursuit to get her PhD, promising her that once she attained a degree, she would be well respected and making a difference for many Native Americans. She attended a Midwestern State University to continue her studies in American literature. Due to the brochure, she was convinced that the university will be filled with Native American professors, students, and a strong Native study program, but yet she was disappointed to find out that her and one other student were Native American, which was her only friend, and that there was no Native American professor. It wasn't until her 4th year that Lakota scholar and writer arrived at the university to teach there. She was filled with excitement to see a Native American professor coming to teach at the school since her only Native buddy had departed from the school already. The past year, it came strong to her that many Indians are facing hardship and attacks regarding to the values of their scholarship due to the lack of understanding of the Native Americans. Once spring had hit, the recently Native American professor who arrived last year had been replaced. Both she and the professor were humiliated through the whole experience. Just imagine being the only kind of your descent at your school with no friends or professor. of your kind to help you get through your problem when you are down. To be by yourself to attain a PhD must have been really difficult, knowing that there's really no one to help you because no one can understand what you are facing. The professor who was replaced was told in a meeting that she was not chosen as the candidate for the job because her research was not good and that her dissertation was pointless. This broke the professor's heart, and also the student, known a knowledgeable American Indian with comprehensive research skill, was not skilled with research skills was not well respected. Seeing all this brought a strong, clear message to her that even an experienced Indian may experience a verbal massacre of his or her scholarship in effort to a success in hiring decision. This article expresses the problem of education inequality for Native American women from the perspective of the students and professor. The message in this article clearly states that even with a degree, Native American women may still struggle to find respect and a job. Being Native American was already difficult to adopt to a new society, but through the gaze of academia, Native Americans often understand that the situation creates deception. A powerful message to all American Indian students. You will get in the doors, but after you have arrived, you will find the doors closing much more often. Find fewer allies and find your back more times than not. Firmly plan a line wall just in case. When one Indian is hurt, then we all are hurt. Prepare yourself. You may never be accepted by others, but before you confine yourself to a serious depression or consider leaving the education you so rightly deserve, ask yourself the most important question. Do we not have a right to voice our concerns? The fourth and last perspective is an interview by Joe Harger called Having to Fight For It, interviewed by Joshua Barnes. Joe Harger is a Creek Indian and musician who was once marginalized musician 20 years ago because many other musicians didn't know what to do with a woman who wasn't a singer. She was born in Oklahoma and grew up to an abusive stepfather. Her first children's book was dismissed by publisher as an author because she was Native American. That just sucks to have a passion to show the world your skills and talent, but not appreciated by others due to the fact that of what your race is. I believe that you shouldn't judge anyone until you have given them a chance to express themselves. Tell me about your journey with music and poetry. First question asked. It came from her mother because her mother used to always sing and write songs at the kitchen table back when her father was still alive. She loved music as a kid, but it wasn't until she was 40 that she actually pursued it. During her 20s, when she attended University of New Mexico, she began to take interest in poetry. Jane Cortez was a major influence on her when she first heard her perform in New York City. Second question, it sounds like your career was formed by a lot of people saying no. It reminds me of Sherman Alexie, poetry equals anger, time, imagination. How does that description relate to your personal trajectory? Growing up to her abusive stepfather, finding her shelter in her imagination was her escape to another world. One quote that Joe Harger uses when asked about the description related to her personal trajectory. Words are a vehicle for bringing something into being. A vision of peace, a vision of connection, a vision of telling a story of who we are, what we've done, where we've been, where we're going. As I come to the end of my topic, I hope that all four of these different perspectives gives you all a glance of what it was like for Native American women adopting to American culture. From villages where rape was so common to Janet Campbell, a strong woman who had faced many circumstances to become who she is today, to education where Native American women were not treated with respect, to Joe Harger, a marginalized musician and poet. My goal was to put you all in the shoes of these characters to see what they had to face in the dominant white society. Thank you for listening. Till next time.